Good morning.
Well, I've been asked to ask you a few questions and the camp and why this camp is here. So I'll start off with, so you started playing basketball later in life. So when was that?
I started playing basketball when I was 17 years old. My senior year in high school. You know, basketball was not a big sport in Nigeria at that time.
So what was your first sport?
Of course, soccer.
So and what position did you play when you played?
I was
soccer?
the goalkeeper.
Goalkeeper. So you can imagine. I mean, I think the what's the height of the goal? The height of the goal is what, 6 foot? Is it?
I'm not sure.
6'2", 6'3", or 6'6"? And were you taller than the goal then?
No, close.
There you go. So you started playing soccer. How many games of basketball did you play before you went to Houston?
6 months. I was invited to the national team,
Right.
you know, from Nigeria because of my height. So that was an opportunity to play up.
Right.
So I started playing with the soldiers. They were on the national team.
So in terms of height then, yeah, how important do you think height is in the
In
game?
basketball,
Yeah.
well, the height advantage, that's what they call it, height advantage, is a huge advantage if you have a height. And if you don't, then you have to make it up by speed and quickness and strength, you know, so you have other opportunities.
So the fact then is, if you're tall enough, if you're good enough, you're tall enough. Yeah? So it doesn't matter whether you're small or indeed very tall.
You have to play to your strength. There are some players that they're not tall, but very quick. And also the basketball IQ, to understand the game, is a very intelligent game to play as a team. It's a team sport, know how to read the opponent and to be one step ahead.
Right.
You know, so
And okay then, how important was education to you together with the sport?
well, that's the foundation. You know, I grew up in Nigeria, where the education is the key to success. So I was discouraged to play any sport. So sports to me, you know, when I was growing up, that's like a reward of something else. You know, you have a good grade, then you can play sports.
So your education is so vitally important, and without it, you're not playing any sport.
All right. It's a reward. So I tell my kids that they're so lucky that I'm taking them to play sports. I was hiding when I was playing sports from my parents.
Right. And so you went to the University of Houston?
Houston, yes.
And obviously at Houston, in that very first year that you got there, having only played 6 months, what took place there over that summer?
Well, I got a chance to play against the great Moses Malone, which was it was the best big man in the NBA at that time.
And what did you learn from him?
A lot. First of all, the mental toughness. He took me under his wing. Just my first exposure being around a guy of that size, and very, very humble. His characters, you know, I really admire how he took me in, and but on the court, he wasn't taking it easy on me at all. So on the court, he played me very, very physical, which is I really benefited for me going to college at that time.
So how old were you?
17.
So at 17, you're playing against one of the greatest centres in the NBA at that time, and he treated you in a very tough way for a whole summer.
He prepared me for college basketball. So I felt like when I played against Moses, then in college game, there will not be any player of that magnitude so I gained a lot of confidence going to college. Yeah.
So I suppose then your advice would be to play against people who are better than you, or you feel that they're better than you.
That's the best advice. You know, when you play against the best, you know, you improve so much that when you play against your own age group, you can dominate that sport.
Great. So if any of you guys have got big brothers out there who play against them, because they'll be tough on you, but at the end of the day, when you come back to your own age, right, you will benefit. So you've gone to the University of Houston, and then it's the draft. And the draft was 1990...
1983.
Oh, 83. So how old are you now? How old are you now?
55.
55. And so you get into the 83 draft, same draft as Michael Jordan.
Yes.
Yeah? And what pick were you?
Maybe I was the last pick in the draft.
He was the number one pick. So how old were you then?
21.
So between 17
Yes.
and 21, you become the number one pick in the draft.
Yes.
What was the reason? How did you make that journey so quickly?
Well, it was destined to happen because if you look at my story, it seems like it's unbelievable, like a fairy tale story, but it is true. When I started playing basketball, once I got a taste of basketball, I dropped other sports and just get better with competition. Where my college team was called Five-Star German, where all we want to do is just dunk the ball. So my role was just block shot, dunk the ball, rebounds. I didn't really care how many points, just how many block shots, how many rebounds is more important.
Okay, so defense wins championships.
Right, that was the attitude.
Great. And so obviously you worked very, very hard, and what I got from that is that you were really focused about what it is you wanted to do.
Yes, I mean, it was a blessing. It was God's blessing to have that talent. You can have the talent, but you still have to develop your talent by hard work. And we have opportunity to have great coaches here today. I'd like to thank all the coaches. I think you can benefit from the coaches by listening and also to practice what they try to teach you.
So the next step of that journey is that you win a champion. You go from college, yeah, you're with the Rockets, and you win a championship. Yeah?
That was 10 years later.
10 years. So 10 years.
No, we went to my second year in the pros, we went to the finals against Boston.
Right.
So we beat the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals.
Right.
And that was a big accomplishment.
Right.
Then we played against a great Boston Celtics team, Larry Bird, Parrish. So we lost in the finals, 4-2.
God.
So
That's fantastic. So then you say 10 years later, you get the ring.
right.
How did that feel?
Well, it was I lost 3 times in college in the finals. Then when I went to the pros in my second year, we lost in the finals again. So it's something that's been building up for many, many years.
Yeah.
And to finally won, it was just a huge burden.
Who was the player you were playing against then?
I think you know.
I know.
Well, I lost to Patrick Ewing, Georgetown in college.
Yes.
So 10 years later, we met in the pros again. So I think we won a big one.
So he was like, Patrick, it's in my time. Okay, very fantastic. So then you obviously worked towards retirement, yeah?
Yes.
You to retire from the game in 2004?
2002.
2002?
Yes.
And then somehow, some way, yeah, you used your education for your other business interests?
Yes, of course, you're forced to be a businessman because that's why education is important. That when you get into the professional level and you sign your contract, that's you automatically a corporation, your company now. So you have to run your business as a company.
Right. So and then you find yourself in dear old England. Yeah?
Yes.
So how did that come about then, England?
Well, being from Nigeria, so many years that you hope and dream of living in England. But you have to have a reason to, because I spent most of my time in the U.S. But when my daughter got accepted in university here, I said, wow, this is an opportunity to live in England. So I brought the whole family down there.
The biggest thing in England that people talk about is the weather.
I love it. The last couple of weeks.
See, we get to keep Hakeem in England for a long time if the weather's good. But Hakeem went on holiday in the best of the weather. Okay. So now, the camp. When you spoke to myself and Rob, you said to us, if you had a wish that you could do anything, you asked us what we would do, correct?
Yes.
And Rob said what?
Camp.
He said he would have a camp. That's what Rob said. And you said, what do you say about most things? We could do that.
I mean, it's been, this is the third year now, and I see the improvement every year. I'm so happy that I see some of the players that I saw last year. I saw some repeated faces here. That means they enjoy, they want to come back.
That's great. And this is, as you say, our third year here, yeah? And we're really grateful that you could come today. I know that you won't be here every single day, but we will see you again a bit later on in this week. Yeah?
Yeah, I plan to.
Okay. Now, from that, if you had to give one piece of advice to these young men and women here, what would your advice be?
Well, I like to give it from the basketball perspective because they can relate better. Basketball is a team sport. So you have to look beyond just basketball. You know, basketball teaches you a lot of things. You know, how to work together as a team, either at school, at work, even in your family, you know, environment where brothers and sisters, how to work as a team. That is always better to sacrifice for other people, for the greater good of the you know. So teamwork, and also courage. With basketball, sometimes you're playing against an opponent. Maybe you are not sure of yourself, but you have to have that courage to try to play your game. When you work hard, you train, and during the competition, this is what you train for. So you have to push yourself and just play your game, because you don't know how the opponent is also looking at you. Maybe he's giving you a lot of respect, but you can't give him too much respect because you not play your game. So it's always better to be courageous. So it teaches you courage, confidence, and teamwork. And most important thing is just to listen and try to benefit from your coaches, your teachers, your teammates, just to take advantage of the opportunity that's given to you. So I guess that would be the advice, to look for the advantages and take advantage of opportunities that are available.
Thanks, Hakeem. I want to thank you. And you mentioned earlier on that Moses Malone
Yes.
was a humble man,
Yes.
or a great player and the like. And I have to say, for the past 3 years, probably a bit longer than that, in knowing yourself, I can't think of a more humble, courageous man. And the biggest thing that Hakeem said was this, is the art of listening. The art of listening will take you a long way if you listen to understand and not just to reply. So thank you very much, Hakeem Olajuwon.
Thank you. I hope everybody enjoyed themselves.
Okay. All right.